But you're saying now we should look to companies that create time. How does that work?
Yeah, exactly. So what we saw, the reason all these companies accrued so much value, the big tech names, is because they save people time. But right now we're in a situation where I think we're in store for a productivity boom, unlike anything anyone ever seen. And what's happening is, over the last couple of months, I think we've pulled forward future technology in a way where businesses have a taste of what it's like to operate in a distributed fashion, and consumers and people and the constituents have a taste of what it's like to live in a much more fluid type of life. And right now we're talking a lot about these names like Slack and Zoom, the working from home economy, but it goes much beyond that.
So that's interesting because the stay-at-home basket, so to speak, has been a popular one, but a lot of that includes stuff like Netflix that frankly isn't really helping create any time. I really like your idea that we're going to see a huge productivity boom, especially after we just heard James Gorman talking about a global recession through the end of next year. So how do these companies accelerate us into the future, and what does that future look like? Who else should we be investing in?
Sure. I think it's going to come in places we don't even expect. So you look at a couple of examples. GE can 3D print an engine with 12 parts when it used to take 855 parts. You have Nokia in partnership with Lufthansa able to service engines remotely and do so in a way that you don't have to travel anymore. So all of this new time will be created because time for us has been completely structured. You wake up, you go to the office, you come home, and you watch some TV, and you go to bed. If you can add fluidity to that time and find time in areas that didn't previously exist, that's what we mean by create time, you'll be able to deploy that capital and time and resources in a way that never had been thought before.
Yeah.
And it's really rethinking the principles of how business is conducted.
It has a lot of positive externalities, too. Yeah, I didn't mean to jump in there, but I'm just thinking about when commutes are shifting, it's not all 9-to-5 work. It's better for the environment. There's better traffic. The idea of being at work 4 hours that might be at any time of day instead of the same 9-to-5 schedule is really attractive. I just wanted to be clear. Are you telling me that GE is your investing name of the future? The other names on here include Lufthansa, Nokia. There's some bold calls.
No, I was giving examples of creating time in areas that we don't really talk about. Right now, we're just talking about video conferencing from home. And really, the way we think about it from the historical analog is that these companies have essentially built the railroad, the infrastructure, the current big tech establishment. The new companies that will emerge will be able to ride those rails and leverage them in a way we haven't seen. So, it goes into healthcare, into financial services, like Robinhood raising more money, Square enabling people to rethink how they're managing their consumer data, and in a way that, healthcare, thinking about you could have, AirPods check your temperature, and in a way that you'll be able to reduce time spending with your doctor's visits. So there's so many different, like you were saying, externalities in a way that we're not really thinking about today. We're just really focused on the stay at home. But if companies and people rethink how they spend their time and their first principles, I think that we're going to be in store for something really big.
So are the companies you're talking about even created yet? Or, are you basically saying to people, don't bet on FANG because it's going to break down in the future? Or do you have a clear sense yet of what those new companies you would bet on would be?
Yeah, so right now, some of them haven't even been created yet. We don't know what they are. But, there's a Bill Gates quote, people tend to overestimate what happens in 2 years and underestimate what happens in 10. I think in this case, that's going to be wrong. With the big tech infrastructure, the establishment, I think those are now essential services. You absolutely need them. So I think premium valuations will actually be awarded there. But looking into the future, the obvious examples that are right now in the market, I think you look at a company like Slack. It completely changes the way in which you communicate, both internally and externally, and things of that nature. And that's where we're really betting on the kind of the next chapter.
Well, it's such a hopeful theme. If nothing else, we needed it today. James, thanks so much.